Okay, let's imagine this. You're somewhere over the Pacific Ocean, hour 14 of your flight to Singapore. Your neck feels absolutely sore. Your ankles look like they belong to someone twice your size. You haven't had a proper sip of water in like 4 hours because you keep forgetting. And, this is the best part, the guy next to you has been binge watching every Marvel movie ever made with his screen on full brightness. Fun times, right? Here's the thing. Most people think long-haul flights just suck, like it's unavoidable. You just have to white-knuckle your way through 17 hours of misery and show up at your destination feeling like you got hit by a truck. But what if I told you that's completely backwards? That there's actually a system to this, one that airlines don't tell you and that most travelers have no idea exists. We're talking about one timing trick alone that can basically delete jet lag before you even step on the plane. Yeah, let's get into it. Surviving long-haul flights. We're talking 9, 12, 17-hour marathons in a metal tube at 30,000 feet. It's a necessary evil if you want to explore the world. But here's the truth. Most people get it completely wrong. They show up unprepared, pick the wrong seats, eat the wrong foods, and land at their destination feeling absolutely destroyed for the first 3 days of their trip. Today, we're changing that. This isn't your typical bring a neck pillow advice. We're diving deep into the psychology of flight timing, the biomechanics of comfort, and the little-known hacks that transform a brutal journey into something almost enjoyable. Now, let's start with the single most important decision you'll make, and it happens before you even book your ticket. Flight timing strategy. The circadian code. Here's what the airlines won't tell you. The time you fly matters exponentially more than where you seat. Your body operates on a 24-hour internal clock called your circadian rhythm, and when you mess with it, everything falls apart. Flying eastbound, like from North America to Europe or Asia, is significantly harder than flying west because you're forcing your body to shift earlier, not later. Think about it. It's easier to stay up late than wake up early. The red-eye revelation. For eastbound long-haul flights, evening departures that land in the morning are your secret weapon. Here's why. If you leave New York at 10 p.m. and land in London at 10 a.m. local time, you've essentially compressed your sleep schedule. Your body thinks it's sleeping during its normal night hours, and you wake up when your destination is already awake. This is the single fastest way to synchronize with your new time zone. For westbound flights, Europe to North America, Asia to the West Coast, book daytime flights that land in the late afternoon or late evening. This keeps your day feeling like day, and you can go to bed at a reasonable local time without that awful jet lag hangover. And here's the booking window secret. For international long-haul flights, you want to book 3 to 5 months in advance for the best prices. For trans-Pacific routes to Asia or Oceania, push that to 5 to 7 months out. Book on Wednesdays for both domestic and international travel. It's statistically the cheapest day. The first flight of the day is not only cheaper, but also has the lowest cancellation rate. Morning departures mean fewer delays cascading from earlier flights. Next, the seat map move that gets you an empty metal seat. Seat selection secrets. The back of the plane paradox. Everyone rushes to book seats at the front of economy. Airlines even charge premium prices for forward seats because passengers assume they're better. But here's the counterintuitive truth. Booking toward the back dramatically increases your chances of scoring an empty middle seat. Why? Because most travelers avoid the back. They want to deplane faster. That means rows 45 through 60 often have the lowest occupancy rates. And if you're traveling as a couple, here's the genius move. Book the window and aisle seats in a 3-seat row, leaving the middle seat empty. Nobody wants the middle seat between two strangers. If someone does end up there, you can politely ask them to switch so you can sit together, and they'll almost always agree because who wants the middle seat anyway? The seat map surveillance strategy. Most people book their seat once and forget about it. Big mistake. Airlines allow you to change seats multiple times leading up to departure, and seat maps update in real time as other passengers book and cancel. Check the seat map every few days before your flight. If your row fills up, move to a less crowded section. You can even change seats at the gate. Gate agents have enormous power and can move you to better seats, especially if they need to accommodate families sitting together. And one more pro tip. If you're willing to be flexible, politely ask the gate agent if there are any upgrades available. Sometimes they'll offer business class upgrades for a few $100s instead of the usual thousands, especially on less popular routes. And for the love of all things comfortable, if you're on a wide-body aircraft with a middle section of 3 or 4 seats, choose an aisle seat on the interior section. If your neighbor needs to get up, they have 2 directions to exit, cutting your disturbances in half. Now, let's get into what you're actually bringing with you. Packing essentials. The survival kit framework. Think of your carry-on like a survival kit for a 17-hour expedition, because that's exactly what it is. I organize everything into 3 categories: comfort, hygiene, and entertainment. Comfort arsenal. First, ditch traditional neck pillows. They push your head forward and create neck strain. Instead, get a head and neck stabilizer, the kind that attaches to your headrest and has an integrated eye mask. It looks ridiculous, but it works like a partial neck brace, keeping your head from bobbing and your spine aligned. If you can't find one of those, an actual medical neck brace from Amazon works just as well and costs a fraction of the price. Compression socks are non-negotiable on any flight over 4 hours. They prevent swelling and reduce your risk of deep vein thrombosis. Put them on as soon as you board, then put your shoes back on loosely. Tuck the laces back through the loops instead of tying them so they're off the bathroom floor when you walk. And here's a game changer: a foot hammock. It loops over the tray table bars on the seat in front of you and elevates your feet. The person in front of you won't even know it's there as long as you're not swinging your legs around. Can't use it during takeoff and landing, but for those middle hours, it's heaven. The hygiene hack. Create a dedicated bathroom bag in a small splash-proof pouch. Pack travel-sized toothpaste and toothpaste, deodorant, face wipes, body wipes, moisturizer, lip balm, and feminine products if applicable. Also pack a complete change of clothes in your personal item. Full outfit including underwear. After 12 hours, you're gonna feel grimy. Changing into fresh clothes midway through the journey makes you feel human again. And ladies, panty liners are your secret weapon. Changing one is like having a fresh pair of underwear without the hassle. Tech that actually matters. Noise-canceling headphones or earbuds are mandatory. The constant drone of airplane engines is exhausting even if you don't realize it. Over-ear headphones are more comfortable for long periods, but earbuds are less bulky and easier to sleep with. If you're bringing wireless headphones, pack a Bluetooth adapter for the in-flight entertainment system. Most planes still use old-school audio jacks. Some adapters let you connect 2 sets of headphones so you and your travel companion can watch the same movie. And now let's talk about actually sleeping on the flight. Comfort and sleep strategy. The sleep architecture. Here's the setup that actually works in economy. Take the airline blanket, roll it up, and wedge it on your armrest to fill the gap between your body and the seat. Put the small airline pillow behind your lower back for lumbar support. Recline your seat fully, but only after meal service is done because flight attendants will make you put it back up anyway. Now add your neck stabilizer, blackout eye mask, and noise-canceling headphones. Rest your feet on your personal item bag. This doubles as a footrest and theft deterrent. If you're paranoid, loop your foot through the strap. This combination eliminates the head bob, supports your spine, blocks out light and noise, and creates a surprisingly comfortable cocoon. The clothing code. What you wear matters more than you think. Loose, stretchy, layered clothing without a belt is the formula. Leggings or flowy travel pants, a t-shirt, and a hooded sweater with deep zippered pockets. The hood lets you hide when you don't want to be bothered. The zippered pockets keep your valuables secure if you're traveling solo and need to use the bathroom. And make sure your pants don't drag on the ground. Those bathroom floors get unspeakably disgusting after a few hours. If you get hot easily, bring a handheld fan. If you run cold, a large scarf or sarong works as a blanket, pillow, or extra layer. The sleep aid situation. Melatonin can help if you use it strategically. Take it about 30 minutes before you want to sleep, and make sure you'll have at least 6 hours before landing so you're not groggy on arrival. Never try a new sleep aid for the first time on a plane. You don't know how your body will react. and waking up disoriented at 30,000 feet is not the time to find out. Avoid things like Benadryl that leave you drowsy for hours afterwards. And please, limit alcohol. I know it's tempting, but alcohol disrupts your sleep quality, dehydrates you, worsens jet lag, and creates safety risks if there's an emergency. One drink is fine. Getting drunk is a disaster for you and everyone around you. Let's talk about hydration and food strategy.
The hydration protocol. Drink more water than you think you need, starting the day before your flight. You don't need to go crazy, but aim for an extra couple glasses throughout the day. Airplane cabins have humidity levels around 10 to 20%. That's drier than most deserts, so your body loses water faster than normal. Once you're on the plane, drink a full glass of water every hour or two. The flight attendants will usually do drink services every few hours, but don't just rely on that. Get up and ask for water when you need it, or fill up your bottle from the galley area. And yes, this means more bathroom trips, but that's actually doing you a favor. It gets your blood moving and prevents you from sitting too long in one position. The food strategy. Yes, airlines will feed you on long flights, usually 2 meals, one after takeoff and one before landing. You can also pack your own snacks and make them protein heavy. Protein bars, nuts, beef jerky, trail mix. Save the candy because sugar crashes at 30,000 feet are miserable. Trust me, you don't want to be that hangry person glaring at everyone. Most airlines also have a snack basket in the galley, so feel free to wander back and grab extras. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Avoid greasy, salty, or gassy foods the day of your flight. Cabin pressure makes everything expand in your stomach, which means bloating and, well, let's just say your seatmates won't thank you. Stick to lighter meals before you board. And grab some gum for the flight. It helps with ear pressure during takeoff and landing, keeps your breath fresh, and gives you something to do when you're trying to stay awake. Now let's tackle boredom and the mental game. The entertainment ecosystem. Most long-haul flights have solid in-seat entertainment systems, but never depend on them. Screens malfunction, audio cuts out, and sometimes your seat is the unlucky one with the broken system. Download movies and shows offline before you fly. If you're a YouTube addict like many of us, sign up for a free trial of YouTube Premium before your trip and download every video on your watch later list. Binge them ad-free at 30,000 feet. Bring a book or magazines as a backup in case all electronics fail. And here's a productivity hack that saves you massive frustration later. Use flight time to delete old photos from your phone. Nothing is worse than trying to capture an incredible moment at your destination and getting the storage full notification. The movement mandate. Get up and move every 2 hours minimum. Walk to the galley area, do some squats against the wall, march in place, stretch your calves. This prevents stiffness, reduces soreness, improves circulation, and helps prevent dangerous blood clots. Draw the alphabet with your feet while seated to keep blood flowing through your legs. It sounds silly, but it works. The freshness factor. Midway through a long flight, freshen up completely. Brush your teeth with those single-use toothbrushes, use body wipes, reapply deodorant, change clothes. It's psychologically transformative. You feel reset and ready for the second half of the journey. And yes, if you're seated next to someone who's fragrant, a Vicks vapor inhaler is a lifesaver. Breathe in minty freshness, and it also helps you wake up. Finally, let's conquer jet lag once and for all. The pre-flight prep. Start adjusting your sleep schedule several days before departure. Use the world clock function on your phone to track your destination's time zone. If you're flying east, go to bed 1 hour earlier each night. If flying west, stay up 1 hour later. On the day of an overnight flight, wake up as early as possible and do intense exercise to tire your body out. A heavy workout plus maximum steps makes your body crave sleep by the time you board. In-flight synchronization. This is crucial. Sleep on the plane when it's nighttime at your destination, and stay awake when it's daytime there, even if that means sleeping when it's bright outside the plane and everyone else is awake. That's why you need the blackout eye mask and noise-canceling headphones. They create artificial night whenever you need it. Download guided sleep meditations or relaxing music to help you fall asleep despite the chaos around you. Post-landing strategy. When you land, get bright light exposure immediately if you flew eastbound. Go outside, walk in the sun, stay active. If you flew westbound, seek afternoon and evening light. Avoid napping on arrival day if possible. If you absolutely must nap, limit it to 30 minutes maximum. Protect a consistent bedtime in your new time zone. Stay hydrated, keep moving, and give yourself a buffer day with no major plans if you can. Your body needs time to recalibrate. Long-haul flights don't have to be torture. The difference between arriving destroyed and arriving refreshed comes down to preparation, strategy, and knowing the secrets that most travelers never learn. Master your flight timing. Outsmart the seating system. Pack with purpose. Sleep strategically. Stay hydrated and synchronize with your destination before you even land. These aren't just tips, they're the blueprint to turning the worst part of travel into something you can actually handle with confidence. If this video helped you rethink how you approach long-haul flights, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you never miss strategies that transform your travel experience. Drop a comment below with your own flight hacks. Let's learn from each other. Safe travels, and remember, the journey is just as important as the destination. Make it count.